Welcome, RTMS faculty and staff, to the Data Team's overview. I would like to thank you for coming this afternoon, and I hope you enjoy our presentation. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to tell you about the purpose of this data overview. At the end of today's session, I would like to begin a dialogue with you as it relates to a specific focus area, and the data I present today will hopefully stimulate conversations about areas in which we serve our students well and areas where we need to improve. Let's take a look first at a breakdown of our population by grade level. In the 6th grade, we have 437 students, which make up 29.7% of our total population. In 7th grade, 504 students make up 36%, and 34% of our students are found in the 8th grade. It may not seem like a big difference, but we all know that the difference between 531 students in 8th grade compared to 437 students in 6th grade is practically an entire team's worth of students. That's why we have 5 4-person content teams in 7th and 8th grade and only 4 4-person content teams in the 6th grade. From our projected enrollment for next year, the incoming 6th grade class will be about the same size as it is now, so we will more than likely be losing teachers in the 7th grade to accommodate the smaller enrollment. The 8th grade teams will likely stay the same because the current class of 7th graders are currently being served through 5 4-person teams. Here you can see a bar graph of our student population broken down by ethnicity. Since opening in 2001, our demographics have been consistent with the majority of our students identified as Asian. This year, with 712 students, our Asian population is almost half the school's population at 48%. Our second highest ethnicity is Caucasian students with a total of 598, or approximately 41%. African American students make up approximately 11% of our student population, while Hispanic students account for a little less than 5%. Here is a breakdown of our school's population divided by classification status. Again, you can see that our gifted population accounts for 44% of all students, while the special education population accounts for around 6%. While only 5 students total, there is a very small group of students who fit into the twice exceptional category of having been labeled as gifted and special ed. Again, with 5 students out of the total number here at River Trail, the twice exceptional population is only 2%. Let's take a look at some of the great things that are going on at River Trail Middle School. As you can see, we are an extremely high-performing school. When it comes to the reading CRCT, we are 20 percentage points higher in the exceeds category compared to the state of Georgia. Similarly, when we look at math results, the data tell a similar story. When looking at the number of students exceeding the standards at River Trail in the area of mathematics, we more than double the state's percentage of students in that category. Again, I cannot stress this enough. We are a high-performing school and we are doing some great things here. This slide gives you a sense of the improvements the state has been making, and again, River Trail is consistently scoring higher than other schools in the district and in the state. If we take a look at ELA results in the 8th grade, the test scores tell a familiar story. We have higher averages than the rest of Fulton County and the state of Georgia. Let's take a second look for a moment at the classification breakdown of RTMS. As you can see, our special education population is approximately 6% of our total, and this has been pretty consistent over the past 5 years. With a variation of about a percentage point, we have had about the same number of students with disabilities each year. Throughout the data process, the RTMS data team has identified a focus area for this presentation, and together, as a faculty, we would like to take a closer look at the data related to our special education students and their performance on the math portion of the CRCT. As you can see by this graph, our general education students have made gains in exceeding proficiency each year, while the special education population actually had 0% of students exceeding the standards in year 3. When it comes to students who did not meet the standards in math in the 8th grade, at most 1% of general education students fell in that category, while as many as 24% of students receiving special education services did not meet the standard for math. I want to draw your attention to this bar graph that depicts a 3-year period in the performance of our special needs students. Pause for a moment to let the information from the graph sink in. Now that you've had a chance to look at the graph, tell me, what do you notice? Yes, you there. Yes, Miss Peterson, you're right. I wondered the same thing when I saw this graph. So, for most of you, you probably noticed the increase in the center of the graph, almost like a staircase going up in the meets category. That might say to you, wow, we must be doing better. Look how many students met the standards in math. They just keep getting better and better. But if you look closely, in 2011, the same year we had an increase in students meeting the standard for math, we had the least amount of students exceeding the standards. Actually, no special education students exceeded the standards that year, and there was an increase in the amount of students who did not pass from the year before. What I have provided here are 2 charts that break down the exceeds, meets, and does not meet categories for general education students and special education students on the 8th grade reading CRCT. As a whole, and in keeping with our track record as a school, one can see that we are doing well in the area of reading. Here's a closer look at the reading results from 2009 to 2011. Again, the amount of students exceeding the standards in reading is ever so slightly increasing, so we are headed in the right direction. For math, on the other hand, there's a bigger discrepancy that has been the focus of this presentation. In 2011, 16% of special education students did not meet the standards in math, and only 1% of their general education counterparts did the same. This slide shows the same information but in a different format, and I hope this gives you a better understanding of the data. Just looking at 2009 and 2011, the number of students who did not meet the standard in math declined, but so did the amount of students exceeding the standards. Now we have to start deciding how we're going to handle this. Let's take a moment to discuss the information I have just presented so we can move forward and see high achievement results for our entire population. I have seated you with at least 1 math teacher and 1 special education teacher at each table. I'll be more than happy to put any of the slides back on the screen for you to see, but you also have a copy of them in your packets. Also, feel free to start thinking about what information we should still gather to continue this process. Remember, this is a safe place for discussion, and everyone should feel that his or her ideas are valued. Wow, what a great discussion. From what I've heard, it seems that some of you had some great ideas about what other information we needed before we could continue. Some of you mentioned the fact that maybe we should pull semester grades for all math classes to see if our special education students' class averages reflect their CRCT performance. Also, we might want to take a look at data from other schools with similar special education populations to see if there were any strategies they put in place that have worked for them. Finally, I heard some of you brainstorming different initiatives for math improvement. I would like to thank you for taking the time to attend our faculty meeting today, and I look forward to continuing this discussion with you very soon.